right. So, what societal pressures do you think have impacted you throughout your life?
I think it definitely depends on a lot of factors that are out of your control that are up to privilege of all sorts of different types. That's the intersectionality there is of racial privilege, of sexual orientation privilege, and just depending where you're born and how you're born can totally change what kind of pressures you have on your life. I definitely think I have been lucky enough to not have many pressures from society
Mm.
in my life, but of course, there's always Hollywood and popular culture that pressures everyone to be a certain way, act a certain way, dress a certain way, um, and of course, that is everyone is affected by that, especially in modern day America, and I've definitely felt that.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I definitely throughout Lakeside have noticed that a lot of people have talked about like the pressure to be straight and the racial inequalities in Hollywood and stuff. And I feel like that has impacted me, but I've also found like YouTube channels and stuff that have all Asian casts and stuff like that that have changed my view on who can be successful. And I have seen some very successful Asian actors and stuff, so I think that's also helped me broaden what I think I can become and lessen the pressures on me.
Yeah,
But
definitely coming from Lakeside, especially in a city like Seattle, there's been really unique pressures, I think, compared to a lot of different cities in the country and in the world. And
mm,
as the one, I think, top three at least,
mm,
most democratic cities, most liberal, and actually most atheistic cities in the nation, especially at a private school that's not affiliated with any religion like Lakeside, there's actually a weird kind of a pressure that I've seen to not believe in any religion and not believe in a God, and also to have liberal ideas, and to, if you don't embrace those, then you're suddenly the outcast, which I think is really unique and something that kids should really be aware of.
yeah, I can definitely feel the pressure to be liberal. I mean, I don't think I would be as liberal as I am right now in any way if I was born in like Kentucky or Louisiana or something like that. Like I definitely feel it every day and like just through the talks we have at Lakeside, you know. Did you go to one? Did you have one of the talks on race last year,
Yes,
right?
yes, several.
Yeah, I mean those just really showed me how liberal Seattle was.
Yeah, and I mean at Lakeside especially, there's definitely a few things that it's just unquestionable that you can just not have an opinion against, like um, gay rights and gun control and even sometimes abortion rights
Hmm.
and equality. And if you just have the wrong opinion, so to say, you're outcast. And I've heard even teachers preach against some things and strongly advocate for some things in class, which makes students with a different opinion that's just as valid, if not very popular, feel diminished and feel belittled, and then they feel like they can't have that opinion. I think it's really, really important going forward to remember that even though we're a very liberal school in a very liberal city, there's a lot of conservative opinion that's very smart and out there, and that people should be striving to hear from. Because if you don't try and hear that and try and include that in the conversation, it's just going to be shut out, and then you'll be worse off for it.
Yeah, there have been quite a few times when I felt that during my time at Lakeside. Um, what do you think have been the familial pressures that you felt? I'm really interested to hear about what you feel that mom has pressured you into and dad.
Um, I don't know. I think, especially in my life personally, the that religion has been a huge factor that I've taken from my father and from my parents, and I think that that's something that happens to a lot of kids. That is something they're brought up with, something they're taught is absolute and the truth, and that's something that most kids just accept from their parents. And
Mm.
it's one area where you're not encouraged to explore, and you're encouraged to believe whatever you were taught to believe as a child. And I think that what's been interesting for me is that my childhood has kind of coincided with my father's journey to question and to discover more. So I've been able to learn about all these different religions and make my own educated choice, which I think has been extremely healthy. And I think, again, it's one of those cases where if you just accept what you've been told as fact, that's very dangerous. And sure, you might explore and then return to what you were raised with and say, actually, I do believe that this is right, and that's good. But just being closed off and only accepting one type of pressure from your parents is very dangerous, I think.
Do you think I've had any different pressures than you, or how they've affected us differently? Me being the younger son, or going to Lakeside in a later time.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I recently ran into Coach Selfridge the other day, and we talked about you for a second, and he called it the big brother syndrome because Simon has beat all of my records in the weight room and has outlifted me in every aspect. And I think definitely that it's completely different being a younger sibling. And like Coach said, I set the bar, and then once there's that bar exists, then all you want to do is smash it. And I think that's a good and bad thing. It's never good to feel worse than someone and to feel like you'll never be as good as someone above you. But it's also good to feel like you know what you can achieve, and you know you have a motivation to achieve that.